Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili nishmasi mi merosi ruspas Mordechai. Hoischim b'chvoid achsanya. Thank you, the Aguda of Avenue L. Thanks for having us. Thank you, Isaac Gross, for making it happen. Thank you, Akiva Ziegler. Thank you, Rabbi Yochanan Itzkowitz, who's a tremendous part of this year. Thank you, everybody. Tonight is a very special night. It's the first time we're trying this out. Basically, if you're here to hear the shir, that's great. I'm going to give the shir from the Mishnah on Pei Hey Amud Aleph till the Mishnah on Pei Hey Amud Aleph on the bottom, all the way in the bottom. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, that's fine. We understand. But I traveled. My kids came in from Eretz Yisrael last night. The Enoch, the whole thing. They were in New York, but first time that we're seeing them for a while, and they're staying by us. We don't have the opportunity really to see them and hang out with them in our house. We're doing construction at Israel. So I picked myself up and left. It wasn't a very good move. It was on the spur of the moment, but I felt that something has to be done. We're starting Kiddushin in just 1 week, and we want to try something out. We have thousands of people that joined us and loved the shir, including Akiva Solkowitz. He said it changed his life. He bought me a $1,200 Negelwasser Kli, a silver thing, and he's off the bandwagon. Why? And I'm using it as an example because came Yavamas and he just fell off. And many people fell off during Yavamas, during this, whatever it is. But they remember how Geshmaka was and how it changed their life and everything else. So we're here tonight to make a few phone calls, a few text messages, reach out to these people. Maybe some of them are still on, some of them are off. Some of them will lie to you and tell you that it's still on. So you ask them what Mustafta we're learning, they probably won't know. That sort of thing. So Be'ezer Hashem, you get one person, you change a person's life. If you're not part of the shir, you can change your own life by being here. Get a Gemara when you walk out. We're here to change lives. We're here to bring Torah to Klal Yisrael. We're not going to stop until every single person learns. It doesn't matter what shir he goes to and what he's learning, but he has to learn something. There's so many people out there that are not learning on a daily basis, and that's a big shame. So Be'ezer Hashem, with Siyat D'Shmaya, we're going to try it out, see how it goes. Listen, there's always a first, and you never know. What if we get 100 people to rejoin? 200 people. You know what? It's a tremendous accomplishment. I also want to thank, of course, Reb Nassan Gens for everything that he does behind the scenes, and Yossi Klein for everything. I know there's many, many other people. There's Tomer and Eretz Yisrael is doing a ton of stuff. Shalema, where's Shalemi? Nishdu. Put together all the list. You're talking about this thousands of papers. Each one has a different names, different things. A lot of work that went into this. And all in the last 24 hours. We didn't know anything maybe 30 hours ago. So, Ishkoyach, and Be'ezer Hashem, it's going to be a big success. I just read a few emails, so we'll make it bekitzer here. I met a Yid in Shul, says David Cohen. We exchanged numbers. I met a Yid in Shul in Vilna. Exchanged numbers, then he saw my status a few days ago about MDY, Daf Yomi, starting Kiddushin, and he messaged me, he asked me how he can sign up. And he's now on board for the new Masechta Rabbi Sai. Status is one of the most powerful tools today. All you need to do is take a video that you get from somebody, or like going here, or whatever, and you forward it. You put it on your status. You don't have to call anybody. If you're a Baishin, you don't have to call anybody. It just goes on your status, and people sign up automatically, and you share in the schusim. It's mefurish in all the svarim. If somebody learns because of you, you get his schus. There's enough to go around for everybody. He gets schusim, you get schusim. Imagine. And it's nothing. You put it on your status. Retro Frankel. I'm reading this because of where he sent it from Zurich. You could see, I'll show you his email over here, the bottom. He's from Zurich, +41. There's people all over the world. And those people, and there's another thing. This is going to be a model for other cities. So if you live in Zurich, Retro Frankel, get your list of people that live over there, because we have about 100 people in Switzerland that were part of the share at one point in time. If you live in Baltimore, if you live wherever you live, Muncie, Yossi Klein will take care of. London, Dov Harris is taking care of. Shimi Leafman is taking care of Manchester. But there's so many other cities that there's hundreds and if not thousands of people. Los Angeles, who's taking care of Los Angeles? Shlomo Lazarian. Let's go. There's over 400 people on that list. Next. So here he is. You see the picture? Yeah, he's learning over there in the Alps somewhere. I don't know if we have audio. Do we have audio? I'll try it. This is from Sachar Savitz, a friend of mine waking up campers in his camp MTA in Arizona. Let's see if it works.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai.
He's saying good morning, Rabbi Sai. That's how he's waking up the Chaber. Okay, no volume today. Just thought of an idea of marketing campaign for Kiddushin. Let's push rejoining and joining for Kiddushin as a zgula for all the people out there who need shidduchim. Shlach. Guaranteed shidduch within 90 days. Well, Kiddushin is only 80 days. So Be'ezer Hashem. Torah is the zgula for everything. No bigger zgula. T.I.Zman. All right, I think, oh no, we have more. Oh, so Isaac Groom, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's Barichos. He wants to bring to my attention. Yesterday I suggested as a joke that I'll do anything to bring people back to the Daf, including on the last day of Gittin to divorce my wife and remarry her on the first day of Kiddushin to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Machzor Grushasa. It's a mitzvah. You know how many people? We already have one guy that said he'll switch from Sruli Bornstein's shir to my shir if I do it. It's very tempting. I want to bring to your attention the problems of getting divorced and remarried a moment later. The Mishnah on Daf Amud Aleph says machlokes between Bisham and Bisila. Bisham hold can only divorce if you find the Everest Davar, and Bisil say even if she burns your food. Big Kitzer, he says that only applies to Zivik Sheni, not Zivik Rishon, and you shouldn't do Mizbeach Murder of Mice. Big Kitzer, it's not a good idea, he tells me. Now he tells me. The hall is already ordered and the whole thing. Additional problems would be, okay, fine, I got it. Isaac. The Koilel is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. L'schus, Refuah Shalema, my mother-in-law, Shlam Esther Bas Belo. I'm not Mr. Anonymous. He's Anonymous from Lakewood. The Masech is sponsored by Moshe Banda to thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. Paras HaChodesh, Nishma Zechariah Ben Moshe. Paras HaChodesh, Bracha B'lidai in all my endeavors. Baruch Tzvi Nissim Ben Shoshana Leah. Paras HaChodesh, Dr. Avrum Epstein and Mary 30 years out of his love, Raiza Gitl Bas Zeav. Paras HaChodesh, Mordechai Ben Esther for complete Refuah Shalema B'Kari. Paras HaChodesh, Nishma Zechariah Bas Yosef. Paras HaYoyim, Aaron Koslowitz. Something like that. Harav nota Tzvi Ben Eliyahu Koslowitz, whose yahrzeit is today. We love you, Reb Eli. Shkoyach. Koslowitz. So let's say it again. Aaron Koslowitz. Lilu Nishmas. I think Harav nota Tzvi Ben Eliyahu Koslowitz, whose yahrzeit is today. We love you, Reb Eli. Shkoyach. Roslyn Jaffe. Is that what? How do you pronounce that one? In honor of the 10th yahrzeit of my father, Mickey Muhlrad. Moshe Yaakov and David, who love Tora. And the third one, brain intact. Unleash your full potential. Should be Zeav and Kedusha. Tremendous success in all my endeavors. The art of the month for complete Refuah for Tzvi Ben Eliyahu Koslowitz. So we have a beautiful piece of art. I didn't really see it, and I hope it's in the right place today. I was in an Uber from the airport coming here, and I spoke to Yoshi. I said I had an idea, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to finish it. It's probably going to be 3 a.m. I'm not exaggerating." He says, "I'm going to ask for shus for my wife. She lets. I'm okay," and he did it. So as I was leaving here, where I'm staying now, it wasn't done yet. And I saw that he was online, still tinkering with it. But I got a good laugh. I hope you do too. Rabbi Isai, I want to show you a real get. I showed this in Brooklyn for the first time. This is a real get. And if you look at the get, you'll see that I marked up some of the words. And the question is, why is the Vav of V'teroiches, and here it is again, and Shvukin, it looks like a nun. Looks like a nun sofit. It's very long. Uchedu, it looks like Uchedain. Now, another funny thing about a get is, if you look closely, the Eshavion is with 3 yuds. Where else do we have something with 3 yuds? And also, the Yatzavion is also 3 yuds. Why is it? Today, we're going to learn about this. By the way, today, or tonight, is the Stipler Goins yahrzeit. Oh, Rabbi say stand up, stand up. Akiva Solkowitz in the house. Together with Shalom Rand. Wow. Tonight is the yahrzeit of the Stipler, the father of Chaim Kanievsky, the mechaber of Kilas Yaakov. And real quickly, I lived in Bnei Brak when he was nifter. Oops, sorry. It's not my stender. Oh, that's what it is. There's another one here. You could bill MDY for this. Hold on. It's Akiva Solkowitz's fault. We shouldn't have done that for him. We stood up for him, so the stender went down. Okay. Just a simple. No, this I don't need. Yeah. Shkoya. So, the day before the stipler was nifter, I heard that he was very, very sick and he was on his last days. So, as a Bnei Brakish kid, I lived in Bnei Brak for 3 years. I snuck into his backyard on Refuah Bam. He lived on the ground floor, and I went to the back of his house and I looked into the window and I saw him. He wasn't breathing well. So, I was lucky to see him one day before his nifter, and I was at his levaya. Today is his yahrzeit. I said earlier, a story that I had with him that I saw with my own eyes. Thing of Baruch HaKadosh, we're not going to get into it. Says the Heilige Mishnah. This, if somebody can make this a little lower, maybe it would be better. Okay. Haread muteres l'chol adam ela la'aba u'lo'avich. The Mishnah is discussing what can consist something that's not krisus. When you divorce a wife, you have to be kairos. It has to be a complete severance, and you can't leave anything attached. Zero. If a person says that he's divorcing his wife on condition she doesn't marry her own father, he's leaving behind one person she can't marry, her father. But she can't marry him anyway, because it's her father. And therefore, Daf Pehei Amud Aleph in the middle of the Amud, and therefore, it's a great get, because he didn't leave anything over. Whatever he left over, the father or anybody else that's really usher to her, is anyways usher, so he didn't leave it over. Your own father, my father, your father. To my brother, your brother. All people she can't marry. To a slave and a non-Jew. These are people she can't marry anyway. So he didn't really leave it out of the get. I just thought it was interesting that Reb Eli once saw this girl. They brought a girl to her. They told her that this girl wants to marry a guy. And they thought maybe as a last resort, they'll bring her in to see Reb Eli. So they brought her in, and Reb Eli didn't know what to tell her. So he said, you know what? Let's say a kapitel to him. What's your name? So the girl says, my name is Riva. Riva? Okay, let's go. They opened up a kapitel to him, and this is what they found in there. This is what they said. They started Pasuk Aleph. V'riva rivi migoy loy chasid. The girl started crying on the spot, as I stated in the Sefer, I don't know which one, Ayin Sham, and she did tshuva. Now, pay attention. It says, Ulachol mi she'ein la olav kiddushin. We're going to use this a little later in the first line of the Gemara. Ulachol mi she'ein la olav kiddushin is a riboy. In other words, I gave you a list. I said, you can't marry your father, my father, your brother, Eved, Goy, and everybody else that doesn't have. Who's everybody else? Didn't I give you the whole list? So Gemara is going to discuss. Hariyad mutares l'chol adam. Now, we're going into another category. So the first category to get is kosher because it's already included in the Isser de Raiza. But what if it's not such a big Isser? No, Kedushin could grab. Hariyat muteres l'chol adam, ela almana l'kohen gadol. I don't want you to marry, let's say you married a widow, an almana to begin with. Now she's divorcee anyways, but let's say she's an almana. I don't want you to marry the kohen gadol. As if you'd marry her. But He left out one person in the world that you can't marry. Grusha v'chalutza l'kohen. These are Isuri Lavim. Regular Kohen cannot marry a divorcee. Mamzeres v'nesina l'Yisrael. So because we have a new oilam here, just to go into a little bit of a rant that's not really shaykh to the... Because sometimes people say, like, what is it my fault? A Kohen could say, I can't marry, it's very hard for me to get married. Now I marry Grusha. What? I have to be soivel my whole life. Hard in shidduchim, etc., etc. So one of the answers is, Hakadosh Baruch Hu loves you more than you love yourself. Hakadosh Baruch Hu knows what's good for you. You don't understand it, he understands. He has a cheshbon. But another thing is to realize that we're here on a very, very short journey. Watch a little journey from here to there. It lasts just a few years. And whatever you chaparai, and I'm saying it only because, of course, we're here to get more people to learn Torah every day. It's people that work all day. They lease cars, l'mashal, yom v'layla, and not ein vart of Torah, nothing, garnished. It's a busha, it's a charpa. So we're here. I'm not talking about you, Akiva. We're here, MS. No, not the. I love Akiva. We're here to help people on the journey. Yeah, you're here. Sometimes it's harder, sometimes it's less hard, sometimes more. It's not going well in this, it's not going well. But just remember the focus. The focus, we're here on a very short journey. You have to chaparain, whatever you can chaparain. Like the famous Chavetz Chaim. You don't even, it's so famous I don't even have to say it. Afal PK. The guy came to the Chavetz Chaim and said, where's your furniture? So the Chavetz Chaim says, and where's your furniture? He said, but I'm traveling. He says, I'm also traveling. Notice you have that focus. You're just traveling. You're not here. Yeah, all this gashmis, all this stuff is nothing. What counts is Torah. So says the Mishnah. Mamzeres and Nesina Yisrael. Mamzeres, we know Mamzeres and Nesina. In the beginning of Yeshua, they tricked Yeshua and they pretended that they came from a faraway land. And he promised he's not going to kill them. Okay, so the kids, you're not allowed to marry them. Bas Yisrael mamzer l'nasim. V'chol mi sheyesh olav kiddushin afilu ba'aveira. Now this is another v'chol. This is the seifa, and everybody else. As if there's more things in the list. There are a few things in the list that are not here. So anybody that you could be mekadesh ba'aveira, the get is possible. Why? Because you excluded that person from the get. You can't marry that person anyways, but you could. The Kedushin is typhus. So it is. It's a bad get, because you didn't exclude everybody. Okay. Says the Gemara. Chlolo de Reisha Lasuye here. So I just put it in here, make it very easy. This is the Reisha. It says, what is it coming to add? Lasui shar chayvi krisus. Other chayvi krisus. Okay, there's many. Klal of the Seif lasui shar chayvi lavin. There's many, and then in parentheses, it seems like Rashi's goyresid, even though it doesn't really fit so well. Kigan amoini, umei avi, nesine. It even says in the Mishnah nesine. So why? How do you include? Okay, mitzri v'adoimi. There are others. Says the Gemara, it's very interesting. The Gemara is going to ask now 9 questions, and each one is more interesting than the other. They have a lot of depth, a lot of lumdus. It explains us what krisus is. If a person divorces his wife and he says, you're divorced, but you cannot marry that person, ploini. Happens to be that ploini is a katan. And Kiddushin can't be chal on him. Is it a good get or not? Did he exclude an individual in this world from the get? What's the question? At the end of the day, right now, he's not in the parasha. Well, wait 3 years, he'll be a gadol, and then he'll be in the parasha. So you did exclude him. So, as usual, we're going to go through all the steps and we're going to learn new halachas and beautiful stuff. Ktana is gareshes b'kedusha avia. You have a ktana who her father married her off. What kind of marriage is that? The Raiza the Rabbanon? Doiraisa. Kedusha Doiraisa. Now the father dies. If she is Makabal get, what kind of get it is? Is it? The Rabbanon. No? Tinisua. Tana, Ms. Gareshes, her father died, she could receive a get. Even though her father was Mekadesh her and her father Kedushin is a deraisa. Amai v'beina v'yatzav ha'hoisa. Oh, the number one Xerishav in Shas. V'yatzav ha'hoisa. Now, she cannot get married now. Now she's not available to get married. And therefore what? She shouldn't be able to get divorced. V'yatzav ha'hoisa. Ella. So we have to say, Asi l'chal alavaya. This girl is one day going to be in the parish of Kiddushin. So say the same story by us. So this katan, since he was excluded from the get, and he's eventually going to be in the parasha of Kiddushin, so it's not a good get. You can't exclude an individual. What about chutz manan eladim? This is just how Yoshi does noiladim. Basically, he's saying you can marry anybody in the world that's alive today, but you cannot marry future people. People that are going to be born later on. Says Gemara, Hashto mi lo yisyalid. He didn't exclude anybody. They don't exist. But it happens to be they are going to be born soon. Every minute somebody's born. Every second. Can we prove it from what we learned? It says in our Mishnah, if a person excludes you cannot marry this. I believe it's talking about a particular slave, not in general, because we'll see later on. It says that guy, Bob, let's call him Bob. You can't marry Bob, the Eved. Emisa Eved, by the way, this in Parashas Shavua Eved. Emisa Eved v'avikachavim nami avidin megairi. We said in the Mishnah that if you exclude a slave, it is a good get. Why? Because you didn't exclude anybody. They're not important to us. They're not in the Parashat Kiddushin. So you included the whole world and not the slave. But the problem is the slave one day could be a Jew, could be a Yid. Yeah, I said this a number of times, but some new people will say it again. A guy came to Reb Kanievsky. I'm just saying Stipler. You see how it goes? Stipler, the Rebbetzin, and now Reb Chaim. Just keep it in the Mishpacha, Kanievsky Mishpacha. Somebody came to Reb Chaim Kanievsky and said, I need a shidduch. So he looks at him and said, the shidduch wasn't born yet. The guy almost had a heart attack. Shidduch wasn't born yet. He's going to wait now 20 years. And then he got engaged to Giyaris, and he realized that she wasn't a Giyaris yet when he went to Reb Chaim Kanievsky. She wasn't born. Eved also can become a ger, so it says Gemara, no. Slave doesn't necessarily want to become a ger. The world happens to have kids that are born every second. Now, here's a picture. Let me show you Yoshi's Eved. The Eved doesn't become a ger. Here's the Eved becoming ger. All right. And the Weissach, no Weissach. So, don't look at that one. That's not good. Don't look. Gotta get that off. Okay, here we go. I have to skip a little bit. Hold on. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Ready? Here. This you can look at. Story of, this is like Yevamis. Going back to Yevamis, if you had a hard time in Yevamis, you're not going to have a hard time today. It's real short. You have two sisters. Where are we? Chutz mebala choisamau. 2 sisters. And is Binyamin Klein? Where is Binyamin here? Schwartz, I mean Schwartz? Not the way. Okay, here he is. Binyamin Schwartz, the dentist from the 5,000. So 2 sisters are married to 2 different people. Now, when 2 sisters are not allowed to be married to 1 person. But what happens if Binyamin's wife, well, I shouldn't say that. Let's say whoever this guy, this dentist is, if one of the sisters goes bye-bye, then you can marry the other sister. So says the Gemara, what if, let's start from the beginning. He tells her, you can't marry the husband of your sister. Right now, there's an Isser Raiza between the 2 of them. But maybe not. Maybe one day she could marry Binyamin. So again, if we look at it right now there's Isser Karas, so it's a good get. Why? Because he didn't exclude any person, because right now she can't marry him anyway. Rachel can't marry Binyamin anyway. But if you look at a future possibility, it's possible that one day she could marry Binyamin. So how do we view this? Is that considered a crisis or not? We can prove it. What about? Okay, good. I don't want you to see this thing. Okay. If he says you're divorced to the whole world, you can marry anybody you want, but you cannot marry that slave or that non-Jew. But like we asked before, Eved could get married, could be a guyer, and then you can marry him. Says the Gemara, Gerus lo shchicha, Misa shchicha. So this is what I liked, what he did today. Here we go. You ready for a little show? This is the Aguda on Avenue L. And that, of course, is Chaim Peretz Levin with his stack of Gemaras. Where is it? Chaim Peretz Levin. Shalom. Hey, come. Stand next to me while I do this. Get over here. So, here we go. You ready? Here, don't look at him. Look at the thing. Hey, come around. I want you to see how I see it. Here, you like. All right, here we go. Here comes Eina Yehudi. Hey, Bob, come on. Converting can join the Daf. No thanks, pal. Keeps on going. All right. So Gerus is not shchiach. Misa is very shchiach. That's what's going on here. In other words, we all go by one day. It's very, very common to die. It's just not very common to convert. Shkoyach, thanks for being part of that. I called you in the Uber. Now, there is sound to it, but you don't hear it. Okay. Repairs, Kai Levin, you want to... Should we do this? I'll do it later. Okay. Fine. I wanted to ask him a few questions about how he recruits. Maybe he could give us a few ideas before we jump on the phone, because he's the professional. The people that tell me I'm not joining, I've spoken to people that I've tried. I didn't get a single guy to join this year. Not one. So how you talking? Paris Chaim Levin got 1,100 people. Maybe more. All right, we're almost there. 2 more minutes, we're at the Mishnah. You're going to see a bunch of the Aguda guys get up and leave. They're lost. They're going to miss Amud Beis. It's even better. Person divorces his wife and he says, don't make me bushas, don't be mizan with anybody. You can marry anybody you want, just don't be mizan. It's a very, very interesting shaila. Is he being mishayer something in the ishos? Did he leave something? Did he say, you're completely free? Or no? He said, you're still attached to me because you can't have his nose. B'nesua and holoyishir. In marriage, he didn't leave anything because she can marry anybody. Maybe that's an integral part of the divorce, and he's mishayer something when it comes to bia. So Gemara this is from a diuk, and the Gemara says your diuk isn't good. That what? It says in our Mishnah, if a person says on condition that you don't marry your own father, and we said that it's a good get. Why? because you anyways can't marry your own father. Ubemai, and what's the case? If he said, don't marry your own father, that's mamish shtusim. It doesn't make any sense that he would say, don't marry your father. You can't marry your father. Elah business. What he said is, shouldn't be mizan with your father. And it's considered a get because he wasn't mishayir anything. The father anyways is also hala achar shir. You see that when a person is mishayir in znus, he says you cannot be mizana. That's not considered a get because it's only considered a get when it comes to a father, but not when it comes to anybody else. Says the Gemara, you're basing it on a diuk, and your diuk is wrong. Dilma benesun, do'avar v'intiv. Maybe our Mishnah, when he said you cannot be with your father, what he meant is you can't marry your father. He never spoke about znus. You asked me, it doesn't happen. Okay, but that's what he meant. What about if he says chutz mishloi kedarka ma'u? He says you let him marry anybody, but he stipulates on how they could be together. They can't have any unnatural bia. So it's a very, very important shaila. Why? Because at the end of the day, a husband can tell his wife, "I'm divorcing you on condition that you don't do any jumping jacks." Okay, that's a good tonight. That's a tonight. But what happens to tonight that has to do with relations? Is that a tonight that ruins a get? That's the Gemara's kasha. B'kedarka halishir. When it comes to regular, he wasn't mishayir anything. But perhaps since the halacha, both types of bia are considered full bia in all halachas, so memela he was mishayir. He left something to himself. In other words, he didn't give her full freedom, and it's not a good get. Chutz, another shayla. Chutz ma'afaris n'derayich ma'u. A husband says to the wife, "I'm divorcing you on condition that I get to be made for your neder." Let's see if we have it. So first of all, in the Torah it says, "Kol neder chol shurus islanis lavish isha yikimenu." Isha means the husband will be mekayim the neder, v'isha, and the husband yifrenu. A husband has the right to be made for his wife's neder. And let's see if I could get through it. No, okay, somewhere. Okay, it's somewhere in there, but I don't have my right buttons today. Okay. So again, the husband is divorcing his wife, and he says, "I'm leaving for myself the right to be made for my wife's nadar." Mao, is it a good get or not? Binesu and oleshir. He's not married to her. Since I shouldn't have even shown the pasuk in the Gemara. Since you see that to be able to be made for a nether, you have to be married. And he has the ability to be made for a nether, so he's slightly married to her. So it's not a good get. If you marry a kohen, you cannot eat truma. What's the shaila? He let her marry whoever she wants, and it's a good get. Perhaps no. When it comes to truma, the Torah calls it kinyan kaspa. What's kinyan kaspa? Kinyan kaspa means that a person. Oh, this is unbelievable. Think about it. This is hagdama to mesechtes kiddushin. How you kohen a wife? Kesef shtar bia. Since the Torah says kinyan kaspa, you're marrying this woman with kesef. So therefore, and it calls her a kinyan kaspa when it comes to the kohen, and she could eat truma because she's a kinyan kaspa. Not that he physically bought her, but that's one of the kinyanim that you're kohen isha. Oidilma kinyan kaspa. There's missing from the kinyan kaspa because he cannot feed her truma, so it's not a good get. I'm divorcing you. You can marry anybody in the world, but I want your inheritance. I heard your father, the shver, is a gazillionaire. I want to keep the inheritance for myself. Does that count as a get? In other words, he's leaving himself a schus. He let her marry whoever she wants. It should be a good get. Who inherits? A husband. Oh, so he's slightly a husband. Again, agdama to kiddushin. One of the ways to be mikadesh is with the shtar. And he said, you can be miskadesh to anybody in the world, but I'm limiting what type of kiddushin. Only bekesef and bia, no shtar. Now, at the end of the day, what's the big deal? She get married to anybody in the world. She has 2 out of the 3 ways. What's the problem? Dilma, no. This is another time. All 3 are in one bundle, and if you take one out, you took all of them out. And Memela, you can't get divorced if you don't have all 3. And for 8 out of these 9 questions, the Gemara says, Teiku. Rabbi said, let's continue learning. Very easy daf over here. Daf Pei Hey Amud Aleph. We're all the way on the bottom by the Mishnah. Zoktei Ligi Mishnah. Gufay shall get. Believe it or not, after 83 days of learning halachas about Gittin, shlichos, and almanas, and everything, finally, the Mishnah tells us, what does it get? What does it get look like? I was just thinking to myself, I don't know if this is emes, but imagine if the very first Mishnah of Masechtas Gittin said, this is what you write in a get. Comes down Maritz, and he reads the first Mishnah, he says, oh, I know how to write a get. This is what you write. You have to know all the halachas. So first we go through all the halachas, and we tell you all the little details, and what if you said, chutz with this person, almanas this person, all the different halachas. And now finally, Gufi shall get harei at muteres l'chol adam. Says the Tanakama that a get are 5 words. That's it. Harei at muteres, you are muter l'chol adam. End of the story. I'm just thinking because they say if you learn Masechtas Gittin, it's a zgula not to have a get in your house, not to have divorce. Says Raiza Gitl, it's when you learn the halachas of Gittin. This, Rabbi Isai, is the daf of the halachas. Right here. Hilchas Gittin, mamish gufi shall get. Now we turn to Daf Amud Beis. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, he's mechulek. V'dein di'hevi lechim minoi sefer teruchen. This should be the sefer. This right here is your document, your sefer of tiruchen, of dismissal, v'geresh hipugin, the withdrawal, we get peturin, and a release. I'm releasing you. That's it. The mahach to go this nazba called gvar diatzbayin, diatzivin, and it has 3 yudin. Here in the Gemara it has 2. We're going to see soon. You go marry anybody you desire. Okay, so Reb Yehuda says you have to say a bunch of stuff. It's not just 5 words. You have to say mamish mefurish. And we're going to see in the Gemara what's the machlokes. Daf Pei Amud Beis is sponsored by the MDY Tehillim Group, where we daven for Refuah Yeshua, Shidduchim for Klal Yisrael, and our MDY family. So join us, tehillim.imindav.com. Says the Gemara Pshita, let's go through a few halachas. Oh, sorry, thank you. Gufay shall get shichrur. How do you release a slave? And we're talking about a female slave, a shifcha, because we're talking about a isha, but it could be also a eved. We're talking about an eved knani here. Somebody who's literally his guf is kani to you as a slave. Harei ad bas chayrin, you are free to go. Harei ad la'atzmech, or you are on your own. There's a mice I heard a long time ago. I don't know how true it is. If somebody could verify the story. Supposedly there was a bacher, a really good bacher in Lakewood, who turned out to be a little bit of a mamzer. And Reb Aaron Kotler really liked this guy. He was a good learner, he was a good boy. So Reb Aaron Kotler, basically, according to the story, he bought a shifcha and he sold the shifcha to this yeshiva bacher. And she wanted to be misgayer. So what happened was he took her and he would toivel her l'shem shifchos, shem avdos. And then so a mamzer marries the shifcha, but this yeshiva guy owned the shifcha. So every time they had a child, supposedly, they released the child, Meshacher David. And today that child that the Meshacher is one of the best guys in MDY. No, I made that up. But I will tell you that yesterday I said a story. It wasn't such a great story. I was just trying to bring out a point, not to put the person down. The guy was doing tshuva. He's in the middle of the tahalich, of the process of tshuva, and he was in Chicago, and he loved the idea of mikvah. So he drove to the mikvah on Shabbos Kodesh. And the people in the mikvah, what are you doing? You going to the mikvah? Why are you driving it? And I said in the name of my great friend Yehuda Freilich, who now lives in Ramat Beit Shemesh. Yehuda Freilich called me up today and said, that guy, he sent me a picture. He has a beard up to here, and he brought hundreds of people back to Torah mitzvahs, that guy. So, if the story is true about Rabbi Kotla, I'd love to know. It says the Gemara, you use the same lashon that you use with the shivcha, you use it on your wife. You say, you are free. That's not the lashon that you use. Why? Because your wife is free right now. Today she's free. Just because she's married to you doesn't mean she's not free. She's not a shivcha. So it's the wrong lashon. He uses the lashon of your mutter to everybody. And he said it to his shivcha. That's a lashon that the Tanna Kama says used by a get. Because a shivcha still is owned by this guy. Just because she's mutter to everybody, which she's not, it's not a lashon shivcha. So now the question is, what if he uses the second lashon that you tell a shivcha? You are on your own. Is that a good enough lashon for a wife? Did he mean it that she's completely on her own and she's free to marry anybody she wants? Or he was talking about her ma'aseh yadayim, which go to the husband, and that's for yourself. You keep. You have a nice salary, keep it for yourself. Ravina Ravashi, right? The two Amoraim that wrote the Gemara. Toshma Disnan Gufish get Shichur. What's in the slave's get? Hariat Baschayrin Hariat Latzmich. Says Gemara, a slave that you own him completely, like you own an animal. When you use that simple lashon, 3 words. You are on your own. He is free to go. Isha a wife that you don't own that much, or anything. Certainly that lashon should work. I have nothing to do with you. Mao. Did he mean to the slave that I have nothing to do with your ma'aseh yadayim? You work, you keep it. Or he meant you're free to go. If you sell your slave to a non-Jew, and we learned this in the Masechta, you are mechuyev. First of all, Rashi brings it here. You're mechuyev to redeem him. Anybody remember up to how much money do you have to pay? Yasa, you do chazara. You're blank. Nice guess. 10 times. 10 times the amount that you paid. You sold him to a guy. You have to buy him back for 10 times the amount. But here's the bad thing: you can't even get to use him. You buy him back, and then he goes free. You set him free, but he's still not mutter to marry whoever he wants. He has to wait for you to give him a get shichur. Let me just make sure. Okay. So it says Gamliel, because we're talking about he didn't write oinoi. Does anybody remember what oinoi is? We had in this Masechta. Here it is. Oinoi. Oinoi means a star. But what does it say in the star? When you run away from that guy, I have nothing to do with you. So says the Gemara. When do you have to write him a star shichur, another document of release, if he didn't write this oinoi thing? If you wrote these words, that's enough. So what do you see from here? What is the Gemara trying to prove? That the word ainli asek, we asked, what if a person tells a slave ainli asek? What does it mean? Over here you see that Ein Li'esek means I'm setting you free. Because if he wrote it in a shtar, that sets him free. All he needs to say is Ein Li'esek. So you see that Ein Li'esek equals shtar cherus. Rabbi Yehuda v'dein di'ev l'chim enoi sever terichon v'ger shvukin. Says Gemara b'may kumifligi. Tanagama says all you have to tell a wife is 5 words. Rabbi Yehuda goes along and says he has like 3 lines over here. What's the machlokes? B'may kumifligi. Says the Gemara, Rabbanan Sabri Yudayin Shem Chichois Havin Yudayin. So this is the best I was able to come up with from Nedarim. We had the Sugi also. Yudayin Shem Chichois is the idea that if people sometimes speak, a Rav once said that people come to him and a guy comes to him and says, you know, my house, it's like this, and it has a bedroom here and another room there, and this one is this big and that big. And the Rav is scratching his head. He's like, what does this guy want? Does he want to know Hilchas Mezuzah? Does he want to know if the guy ate food in this room, went to another room? Does he have to do Brikas Hamazon? Is the guy talking about a sukkah? What is the guy talking about? A lot of times we go and we speak to his Rabbanim. He was just complaining. He said, like, please be a little bit more precise. Tell me what you want first. So they say this thing, they say that thing. He's still trying to recruit people, middle of the share. Vanderveld, I still hear you. I know, it's callback. Arois, outside. Yeah. Number 22. So, to be clear, so over here, when a person says harehu, that's ain't a yad. It's not even a yad. The point is, forget this chart. Point is not being clear and yes being clear. Rabbi Yehuda says you have to be extremely clear what you want to do. When you tell your wife, Hareyat Muteres, maybe you don't want to divorce her. Maybe you're saying something else. You're not being clear. I need you to say, you're divorced for me. But then you have Lechim and you say, this should be the dismissal, the withdrawal, the release. Very, very, there's no suffix what this guy wants. So it's a question in Yadayim Achichos. Listen, I learned in yeshiva, I understand. He said 5 words. I didn't know Baruch what you're saying. Baruch is not enough. And even though you didn't say the whole V'dain, Tanakama says it's obvious what he wants to do. Who tells his wife Hared Muteres L'Chalada? No. Just cause you think and you can infer, that's not enough. It's not muchach. It's not 100% absolute. Then it's not a get. The time of the cost of love a dain, the muchach milsa the bahai gita come garishlo. It's because he said, I'm giving you and I'm releasing you in all these lashonas. Avaloi because of love a dain. Maybe he tried to divorce her verbally. So now Rabbi Isai, we're talking about lashonos of a get. Oh, screen, thank you. Okay. Yoshi did something like this. Okay, not very pretty. 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe it was supposed to be a different font. Okay. The point is like this. It's very, very simple, and like this will basically almost finish the sugya. Hi man, the cause of Gita, this is very technical. Loi lichta v'dain. Don't write the word v'dain on the left with a yud. The mashma v'din. V'din. The halacha obligates me to divorce you, wife. It's not true. The halacha doesn't obligate me. I decided on my own to divorce you. The mashma v'din, ela v'dain, take out the yud. V'lo lichta v'geres, don't write the word geres. You see geres in red, the third one from the top, with a yud. The mashma igeres. It's mashma a roof. Ela igeres. Without a yud. V'lo lichta limahach. Mach means to go. The mashma li mahach. It could be mashma 2 words. From me to this. Beloi lichtoiv limachach. Be very careful. You see how the 4th word from the top, limachach. If you close up the hay, it could look like limachach. It means to make a joke. Making a joke out of you. So be careful with that hay. That's what the Gemara is saying. Now, I will pull out my get for a second. And I don't know where the guy is, but okay, we might need a zoom here. But if you look right over here, limahach, the hay is very, very large. Oh, it's not on screen. That's why. Okay, sorry. Oh, it's that way. So I'll do this thing. Okay, fine. Limahach is funny. The hay is giant. To make sure that it's not a ches. Okay, we'll keep on going. You can keep it over there. The yashavion, the yashavion, klosso yudin. You look carefully on this get. There's 3 yudin here and 3 yudin right over there. Did you see it? Okay. Wow, that's a good camera. Why? Why do we have 3? You're permitted. I don't know, whatever the other thing is. The heavyon, you will want. Okay. It's just interesting. Somebody once asked Reb Levenstein, he said, I don't understand something. In Yiddishkeit, if there's like a black dot on the esrog, it's possible. And if Yud is missing from the Sefer Torah, it's possible. Like, what's the big deal? So he told him, he said, what's the big deal? If you go, you type something on the internet and you do .com instead of .com, it's not going to go anywhere. Every dot counts and everything makes a difference. Every Yud counts. You need 3. I don't understand exactly why 3 taka, but 3, because otherwise you're going to make a mistake. If you look closely, right over here, the vav, I showed this I think in the beginning of the shir, the vav looks like a nun. The vav right over here looks like a nun. See that? Why? Thank you. Beautiful. The mashma trichin ushvikin. Okay, so you got to make sure that it doesn't look like a yud. Mashma means it could be mashma like terichin. It could be mashma like shvikin. No, you want teruchin, shvukin. You don't want a different word. You don't want that you ban a bunch of women that are banished. That's not what we're looking for. So to make sure that it doesn't look like a yud, we do a giant vav. V'lorcha levav the chadu. Kadu. You see, this looks like a nun. It's a vav, very long one. Every time I pick up my finger, I lose my spot. The mashma uchidi. Chidi is nobody. Rashi says, kidi nazba. Means nothing. So you got to be careful. It doesn't look like you. With the aleph, le'is, l'snesava, to get married. But l'snesava could look like a loy. The mashma loy isnesav. Ella, make sure that the second letter is a hey, l'snesava. Ibarlu, bina v'dan, or le bina v'dan. If you look at the top of the Amud, the 4th word in the Amud, do we pass it like Reb Yehuda or not? Okay, we can put this away for now. Vidon oiloi bin don. Is Reb Yehuda right or not? Toshma, the asking Rav begiti, ich planye bar planye potar besorches planise say. I so and so, the son of so and so, I let my wife go. The havis in say min kodem dena. She was my wife from before. Miyoima denon ulo olam. And from this day and forever, she's good to go. V'ilu v'dein like Omar. Rava doesn't bring down v'dein like Reb Yehuda. You see, Rava doesn't pass him like Reb Yehuda. As the Gemara Tameh, Kulam Omar. What? That's the whole get. Rava is missing words here. Elo beinon. Of course, you need more words. Hachanam beinon. So that's why you can't bring any raya from what it says over there. It was just giving you an example. Why do we say in the get from the day from back then, from all the way then? From today on, you are divorced. The famous Reb Yosi, the Omar is managed to and we actually paskin like Reb Yosi. That even if a person doesn't say Mahayoim, we look in the shtar, in the get, and we see what day was written, and whatever day was written, that's when he gave her the divorce. So let's say he dies a year later from his disease, retroactively it goes from the day he wrote the get. But since he wrote Miyoim Dinan, it's from this day. Ulolam, and why do we write and forever? La Puke, Medeboimine, Robin Rav Nachman, to exclude what we asked, what Rava asked Rav Nachman. Domar Hayoim Iatishti Lomocher Atishti. Remember that question we just had yesterday? If a person writes to get his wife and it says, you are divorced for one day, but tomorrow I want to be your husband. What do we paskin yesterday? That we ignore this. It's a good get and forever. Very good. Forever. So, but just, yeah, that's what we paskin, but not to have any problems. You write Olam. The get is forever and ever. You're not going to be her husband again. Should we just go to the Mishnah or should we finish right here because it's late? Vote. Oh boy. Okay. We got some troopers here. Okay, we'll do it quickly. Rabbi Isai. Let's see. It's 10:37. Let's see how fast we can do this. The main thing to release a slave is to say you are on your own. Ask Rabbi Yehuda B'shtar Zvinei Da'avdei Avdo Denan Mutzlok La'avdu. So he wrote in the thing in the shtar. He writes a whole bunch of lashonas here. You are a great slave. You're right to be a eved. Upatir, you're free right now. Va'atir min charure, you're basically you're free. Umin, you're separated to be free. Umin alule, you have no claims against you. Umin arure, the malkasod, even the king can't come against you and have claims. Basically, you have a clean. What is it called? Clean slate. But I'm looking for in real estate. You go to the right, you get a title, clean title, bekitzer. Nothing wrong with the slave. Uroshum the inish loisalohi. Nobody has any claim of slave against you. You're not even a slave to somebody else. Umenukim kol mum, and you don't have any mumim. I can't see everything. You don't have any disease or anything. I don't want to spend $100,000 on a balmum. Umin shchin, and you don't even have shchin. You don't have any boils. The nofik ad mitzar. It's from the face. Chadas vatik. It's two years old. You don't have anything. And what happens if a person does have shchin? Omar Abayo. By the way, this is the picture of Forest Nadarim, which I was looking for before. Let's see if I can get to what I'm looking for. Oh, this is what I'm looking for. Omar Abayo Ginbero. We call that ginger. Umartacha is type of like the garbage silver that's on the top. What? Silver dross, something like that. What do you call it? Dross. Uchavriyosa is sulfur. V'chal dechamra is vinegar from wine. Umishcha dezeisan olive oil. V'natbik chivra, and white neft or kerosene or whatever you want to call it. This is just for illustration purposes only. You take all this geschmacka stuff, v'shaifele, and you smear it onto the boils, begatfada avazo, with a feather of a goose. Rabbi Isai, okay, that was 2.5 minutes. Have a wonderful day. Tiskula mitzvahs. Rabbi Isai, you can keep on making phone calls, keep on encouraging your friends. We're going to get there.